everyone, Parox here, and today I have the second map review slash guide that I'm doing, and this time I am guiding you through the various positions and tactics on Lakeville. Start off with the north side for Arty. Generally, I see Arty players positioned back in this A2 area, and I guess that's a pretty good spot. You can shoot stuff down in the valley, like back here, and you can shoot stuff, say, over here. However, I do think that positioning yourself at A5 in this area would allow you for more shots into the city, like in this general area, and you are closer, so your shells are going to be more accurate. I have also seen some pretty bold Arty players that will position themselves up in here, or even over here, to allow us like extra accuracy for say shooting down this area or shooting in the back over here. Now I'm going to be moving on to the heavy tanks spawning from the north. What you want to do as soon as you start is don't go valley. Please, please don't go valley. The reason is, I'm going to talk about map control for a second. If you look right here, there's kind of a big mountain, and that will separate you from the rest of the map. So if your team commits to the valley, this is the part of the map that your team is going to control. That right there, that little rectangle. And, you know, maybe you'll have some people here. And that doesn't look very good if you are interested in winning the game. So for heavy tanks, when you spawn in the base, take this road right here or behind that road, because if you enter in these coordinates, you're most likely going to get spotted from, say, a light tank that's over here or here, and then you're going to get shot up and pretty much killed. So what I would suggest, take that long road. You can either cut off on this road here and position yourself right here for the start. That way you can, say, shoot things that are in the middle road, like medium tanks or some of their light tanks. But you can also continue into the city more if you like to be aggressive and go all the way down this road and get into this little box right there. There's some rubble in that area, and it'll provide you with some hull down slash side scraping opportunities, and you'll be able to shoot any of the enemies that you see coming in this area. But besides that super aggressive spot, there are some slightly less aggressive positions in the city. For instance, you can position yourself just right on the edge of these roads right here. With this blob, you can shoot, say, tanks coming down here, over here, or tanks that like to poke up around that area. And if you go towards this road, you can shoot guys that are, say, poking out beside the church there, and also over here. I do want to talk quickly about the church, because I think the church is a death trap. First of all, you have this giant area in the middle of the map, or the town, that is just open and just prone to getting shot by TDs. There's a good TD spot right over here on that side of the map, and here. And from those positions, their TDs can shoot the crap out of you if you, say, stick on this side, but you need to pull back because you're getting shot from this area over here. Or if you poke around this side of the church and you're trying to shoot guys here or here. The TDs sitting there will have a just awesome time shooting you up and killing you. I know, I sit there all the time spawning on that side in my TDs. So generally, I would stay away from the church, get in here, 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 or maybe up on this road, and that way you'll be safe-ish from the TDs on the mid-ridge. My favorite line to push down in heavies when I'm spawning from the north in the city is to get up on this side of the church. I know I'm using the church, but it's just for getting to a location to then push all the way down this road and get behind these houses, and then get behind this big brick house right there. Once you get behind here, you'll have free shots on any of their team that is still positioned along this road here, but this is more of a late game type position when your team is crushing them in the city and you want to move along to get some damage. There will be guys camping back here whenever your team takes the city, most likely, so be prepared for that. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to light tanks from the north. A very popular position is this V in the road, and that's where light tanks really like to congregate and where the teams clash. So first of all, there is a rock in a bush positioned right about here, where you'll be able to sit, get your binocs up, and probably spot tanks that are going along this road here. If the enemies are smart and they come out of their base and come back this way, all the way through the town, it is longer, but it's safer for them. You probably aren't going to spot them. However, you can be more aggressive and get up to this position right here. There is a slight haul down spot. If you want to be aggressive and push all the way up to that spot, I recommend turning your tank around. That way your front will be facing away from the enemy, so you can run away quickly. It also is viable going into the valley, kind of, with light tanks. I only recommend sending one tank to the valley and just a light tank to spot, because that's really all you need for your team to react. So, there is a ridge about right here that is the peak of the valley. You can poke up here, and it is kind of prone to TD shots because I will always be looking down that way at that spot if I'm guarding my base from the valley. And you can also poke up right around this area here. There's a small bush. It is a little tricky to get to because it is up a steep slope, and the bush isn't really in a position where you can just sit. You kind of have to wiggle and poke. That's a little more dangerous, but it would get you some effective lights. So now on to medium tanks. I do like to keep my medium tanks into the center area. I prefer not to go city, but if my team is weak in the city, I will go and just poke around various corners and do some sneaking around to try to get some free shots. But there is one spot I like to go, and that is right up here in the very corner of the map. There's a little building right there, and you can poke up right next to it. There's a little bush on that very side. You have to drive way up there, and you will be able to see tanks sitting here. And most people will look in this location, so you have to watch out for that. Now in the middle, I like to head to C4, is my initial spot that I like to check out. This way you can see tanks down in this area. The enemies they will like to poke around this church right here, so you'll have free shots on them all day long. And if you're feeling a little more aggressive, you can head to that V shape in the road I was talking about. You can use that bush too, and you can poke around these rocks to scare off enemy scouts or take out the enemy medium tanks that like to go to the middle. And in the late game, and your team is winning, and there's no tanks in the middle, or TDs, say, camping back in this area, you can be more aggressive and get up to this part of the road. You'll be able to shoot in any enemies that are down there, and also up this road. Once your team is almost finished killing the enemy, and say there's just a few guys left camping the base, but they're kind of scary TDs, you can get right up to here. There's a bush, and you can hopefully spot them. But if you want to make an advance on the base, coming around this way is not effective at all. They'll have shots on you all day as you try and cross this valley here. So you can either try to, from this position, sneak down along the ridge and get down into this area. You'll be hauled down from them and can poke up on this ridge and try to shoot them, or you can head all the way back around. I'm dragging this line with me for some reason. Back around this way, and then back to that spot. Stupid line. Okay, moving on to the TDs. There are two spots I like to defend the valley if, say, the enemies have breached this ridge right there. You can head back here in this. There's a slight dip that'll allow you to back up and cover from enemies. And there is also a rock right there with some bushes and tall grass that you can hide behind, say, back in that corner. And the enemies will have a tough time seeing you and shooting you if you wiggle and move between shots. And also for TDs, I do like to go to the middle ridge again, positioning myself there, and even in the late game, up here. That way, again, I can take shots on these guys. and guys in there. You'll see that from this position right here, you will be able to shoot guys, say, if they have advanced in the city and they're taking this area. Also, if they breach into your base, you can move back to the C4 corner I was talking about earlier, and then have just free shots as they cross the field and attempt to attack your base. But with more beefy TDs, such as the AMX-50 Foch or say a T110E3, you can take them into the city, and you can either sit back here by that rock and shoot straight down this line, or you can move up that road slightly to this intersection here and poke around the corner and just play peekaboo with your big scary TDs. Okay, so moving on to the south for arty positions. A lot of arty like to sit back here and here, along with this K4 sector. I think K4 is probably the prime arty spot if you're not trying to shoot the valley, because you can shoot straight down the middle road on anything that's in there, really. And you also have some nice clean shots on this side of the church and along with over in this area. And if you are feeling very cowardly at the end of the game, no, don't drown yourself. There's a nice spot right back here in K2 that's a dip you can climb behind and hide back there, and then derp someone in the face as they try to come and kill you. So for the heavy tanks on the south side, there are 4 major spots I like to go to. The first one is this corner right here. You can shoot down the 0 line and get shots on anyone trying to be sneaky and get up in that position. And also a little further along, about in the middle of this road, there's a pile of rubble there that can make for some easy side scraping off of. I also like to head down to this low road right here and poke around the side in this area, try to get shots on anyone that's here or trying to advance down this road. Also, if they try to poke up here, you'll have nice shots on them. Sometimes I like to use this position. Go to this church right here. That way you can side scrape, get some shots over here, here, and maybe even if there's no one on those roads, you can poke around to get shots on anyone down here. Be very careful of anything in the middle road, though. Light tanks on the south side. I think that you can't go valley for one major reason. If you try to go valley in light tanks, you have to go all the way uphill before you can get to that spot, and it's a much fierce uphill battle than the other side is, and you have to go around all this crap in the middle, and I just really don't think it's worth it. If you have a TD position back there, they'll spot anything that tries to poke over the ridge. What I do recommend doing is heading to this rock in F5 to be able to see anything that tries to cut across the easy way, or you can head up to a rock up here by the V shape and you'll be able to spot things a little farther back. I do like to play mediums in the center road on this side as well. Heading over to this sector right here, you'll be able to shoot things in the city in roughly this area. Also, sometimes in very specific positions on the middle road, you can shoot stuff way back here on way up on the D0 line. But if you're feeling more aggressive, there is one rock up here at E5 that you can kind of haul down behind and shoot stuff right in this pink circle, and their shots are just lovely from that position. But it is a little more dangerous because TDs will more likely spot you from here, or if there's light tanks on their team that are around this area, so be very careful with that position. But not least, I'll be going over the TDs for the south. I do like to defend the valley with TDs more so than I do in the north. You can position a TD right there, and it'll be able to see things that pop over the ridge, especially if it's a big TD like a T110E4 or a Jagzilla. It'll really make things second guess going over the top of that ridge. And once again, we are heading back to the middle. There is this open area right here. You can sit there and shoot things in this area. Also, you can get some sneaky shots, what I was talking about earlier, way up here in the D0 area. If anything likes to be sneaky and go up there. I have actually gotten hits off that those tanks that go up there. It's very hard to do though, so don't count on it happening all the time. And it is possible, if your team fails in the city and there are enemies pushing down this way, you can position yourself up like onto the hillside right there, and you'll be able to shoot guys that come across here, and your shells will be able to fly through these houses. Just a quick recap of some things that are very important. Don't all rush valley, maybe send 1 or 2 light tanks there to spot and that way you'll know how to react to that. The middle road is so important because whoever controls the middle road will be able to just shoot stuff in the city all day long. That's pretty much it for Lakeville. If you've enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.